everyone. We are conducting our People's Forum through Voice of People. Today we are happy to have with us Mr. Herman Kumara, the National Convener of NAFSO and the General Secretary of the World Forum of Fisher People, Ms. Madara Vijayatunga, Research Officer of WFFP, and Mr. Rehan Fernando, who is the Project Officer of NAFSO. So, today in our People's Forum, Mr. Herman Kumara, Ms. Madara and Mr. Rehan join with us to discuss an important and timely concept that directly affects our food systems, livelihoods and environment, aquaecology. So let me do a brief introduction about the aquaecology. Aquaecology is a right-based approach that focuses on food sovereignty, placing communities, ecosystems and local food security at the core of aquatic food systems. This approach incorporates agroecological principles into aquatic ecosystems, blending traditional knowledge with ecological sustainability and community governance. It aims to protect aquatic commons, support small-scale fisheries, and promote gender equality, social justice, and sustainable livelihood. Aquaecology presents a people-centered alternative to industrial fishing, corporate aquaculture, and extractive blue economy models. So let me start the Q&A session with our panelists. First I will start this question with Mr. Herman Kumara. So your question is, can you explain aquaecology in terms of food sovereignty and agroecology?
Also the producers, distributors, and also the people who are behind all these scenes in these food systems. However, we as the social movements are promoting food sovereignty as the main way of food producing, because it is not necessarily only food production, but it's all the ideology of controlling the resources, the means of production, that is about land, water, and other sources which need for food production, controlled by the people themselves. And in that, for the agricultural purposes, we move in towards food sovereignty through the agroecology. But so far, there is no such introduction, or not so far clearly engaged, let's say clearly arranged kind of package how the aquatic ecosystems, aquatic resources and people who are depending on the aquatic resources could be incorporated or to learn or engage in these systems towards food sovereignty at this moment. So we are trying to introduce some way how similarly the agroecological systems could be aquaecological systems could be kind of an example to produce food from the fishing communities, from the aquatic ecosystems, and maybe some other means which people are producing food through the aquatic ecosystems, with respecting the people's knowledge, respecting the rights of the people, respecting the nutritious value of the food systems, and also we respect the traditional knowledge and also the way that it transport and produce and how it reach to the people. So in that, we are not promoting profit, and we don't promote food as a commodity. So right now, in this context, the food became a commodity. So we think that it should not be the way. So food should be available for the people who can consume without any difficulty, because today hundreds of thousands of people are living in hunger. Many people are going to the bed empty stomach. So in this system, we say, mainly the fisher communities, we say that these people should be fed properly, nutritious food, and the rights of the producers should be protected. This is the concept, this is the context that we are promoting in the aquatic ecology, which parallel to agroecology.
Much for your valuable inputs. So Rehan, I would like to ask, what about your perspective on this question?
Substantially from the point where Mr. Herman started. Now, when we come to this aquaecology as a term or a concept, or I would say like conception, it's a comprehensive study of the living organism in the basic perspective, such as we have rivers, lakes, and then the oceans, and then we have wetlands and river basins, even the estuaries. Now all these major components, or rather than saying components, it's a type of active living organism. That is why, because there is some way of life interacted in these surroundings, because each and every aspect is interconnected. So there is a life involved. That's why we say food sovereignty has a role to play. In the sense, there is so much of life involved, which is the same mechanism that is being used for agriculture, as he said, and in terms of agriculture. So because we use the same living organism for agriculture, it becomes agroecology. So my definition, in the sense, the way I identify this concept, it's a living organism. It's a living organism that gives lives, that produces life, not only for human beings, but for all the species. So which is the routine, which is the basic pattern of this planet. So when it comes to Sri Lanka, once again, because we are an island, this living organism, this comprehensive living organism, is very important for our day-to-day activities, especially in terms of or in the field of fisher communities. So that's why, and that's the way I basically see this concept, or see through the concept. And then the definition that I would easily provide, it's an active, comprehensive living organism where we have to work out.
Thank you, Rehan. I totally agree with your answers. And next I would like to ask your perspective, Madara.
Satnas, we know right to life is the main basic human right from our society and the global. Okay, then when we are thinking about right to life, of course we have to think about our day-to-day food. So when we are thinking about foods, protein is the most important nutrition in our lives. From seas, oceans, not only the sea or ocean, all over the aquaculture or aquatic resources are the main resource take from the protein nutrition, especially fish. They are the best nutrition.
So Madara, what do you think about this question?
Yes, thank you, Safnas. Once we are thinking about right to life, the basic and the main need is food, because we need nutrition for our life. So once we are thinking about nutrition is food. of course, we can identify fish are the basic and the best protein intakes for our lives. Once we are thinking about that, we have to think about other economic questions. What to produce, how to produce, and to whom to produce. When we are going to answer in that questions, parallel to the aquaecology theory, we are thinking about what to produce. Nutrition, of course, nutritionist foods. Then how to produce? We are produced from the small scale fisheries and women activists, youth and women. So, then to whom to produce? For the local and also foreign once we are thinking about to whom to produce, of course we are thinking about equality, because there is no equality among the food system. We want to give our products from the equally basis price. So we are thinking about all over the livelihoods, not only the people, we are thinking about all of the biodiversity, especially insects, animals, mammalians, all over the persons. So, not only that, this is right-based theory, especially labor rights and also right to life, like basic rights. Yeah. When we are applying this theory, we have to think about agroecology, because this concept is mainly based with agroecology concept and theory. So we are think food sovereignty through aquaecology and also agroecology. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your fantastic answer. So when it comes to my next question, why should ordinary people care about this timely concept or need? I would like to raise this question from Mr. Herman Kumar.
Thank you, Saftans. Yeah, it's very important question, because when we see the current situation, I told you earlier as well, majority people in the world are malnourished or undernourished or halfly nourished, not necessarily having full nourishment of with the food. So with that, we see the poor people are the most vulnerable and most needy in this context, because they cannot afford the price, though there are food available in the markets, people are not possible to buy the food, because the prices of the food production is really high and unaffordable for the people, those who are really depending on day-to-day life. So in that we see the importance of general public, local people, policymakers, and also the food producer organizations, various groups who are really concerned about the people's progress should be concerned about this matter, because without caring the poor people, we cannot think about to have a future. On the other hand, we can see how the current climate crisis affects the humanity, because the current climate crisis, which created serious disasters. We experience, as Sri Lankans, we experience the cyclone Ditwa, which one of the major or main examples that we can show how this climate crisis affect the people, because the climate crisis created a lot of disasters, destruction in the world, because the global warming is one of the major threats to the people. So, to reduce global warming, emission of greenhouse gases, there should be a process, there should be a focus, attention by the world to minimize the emissions of greenhouse gases, which will be a major contributor. Ecology practices or the aquatic ecology food production systems could contribute to minimize the climate crisis. On the other hand, we see the destruction of coral reefs, mangroves, seaweeds, and sea or aquatic ecosystems all over the world. We know the sea coral reefs considered as the rainforest of the sea. That means they can absorb a lot of carbon dioxide, and also the water bodies and mangroves can absorb a lot of carbon dioxide, which help to reduce the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, which cause to reduce the atmospheric temperature, lowering it, and which cause to reduce the vulnerabilities of climate crisis. So in that, I should say, when we consider the ecosystem-based aquatic ecological food production systems, we protect the mangroves, we protect the coral reefs, we protect the seaweeds, we ensure the protection of sea bottom, which help to reduce this climate vulnerabilities as well. So we use this aquatic ecosystem or aquatic ecology to produce food, and which also help to minimize the climate crisis. So this is interlinked. So this is something that we need to see. The people, the policymakers, the corporates, and younger generation specifically, they should consider this as important aspect, because it will ensure their future. Because your future will be depending on the climatic situations, because we are experiencing day by day these disasters, devastations, displacement, destruction, and so on. So we need to consider how to live with harmony with the nature through this type of food production systems. That's why we promote aquaecology, and that's why people, not only the farmers, not only the fishers, not only the pastoralists, not only the workers, women and everyone should be considered this as very important, and it should be promoted very strongly.
So much for your meaningful answers, Mr. Herman Kumara, and you have provided with us the practical example too. So I would like to ask about Rehan. What about your point of view on this question?
Well, Shafnas, I think it's a very important question, especially in this session. Having listened to Mr. Herman's explanation, I also greatly felt that the immediate community in such a living organism where we have lakes, as I explained in my definition, the oceans, and then estuaries and all these aspects. So the immediate beneficiaries are the fisher communities. Could be the fisher communities that live in the coastal area, and at the same time in the inland fishing communities. Now they have a huge responsibility. Why? My immediate concern is that they are the people who are closely associating these type of living organisms more effectively, especially in their lives from morning to evening. Now when you have such a mechanism daily, it's not just a weekly mechanism or a monthly mechanism, it's a daily mechanism which is connected for the deep sense of their lives. And then, so they benefit the fisher communities. And then also they become a part of producing the food and all other basic living organisms in the country. Now for an example, if we take Sri Lanka possesses 103 river basins in this island. 103 river basins. Now imagine how much of fisher communities that are connected with these river basins. Or take for an example an estuary, where the type of a river and the ocean connected together, and then how much of fisher communities living in such a atmosphere. So they have an immediate responsibility. That's why it is very important. That's why that people, those people, or the fisher communities, whether they are in the coastal land or the inland fisher communities, so they become the immediate beneficiaries. And secondly, all the people who profit from those types of living organisms, which means whether you are a child or a woman or a man or a youth, doesn't matter, irrespective of your post, caste, age, whatever the positions, we are also getting different types of advantages. Now, when we have such a living organism, especially in terms of aquaecology, where we associate oceans very closely, lakes and other river banks, and then the estuaries and all other river basins, like in Sri Lanka, as I said, 103 river basins. Now we also become a part of in this context. And then, because there is a climate crisis, like as Mr. Herman wanted to bring up this issue, emphasized over and over again, and at the same time there is a pollution in Sri Lankan context that is being taken place every single minute. How much of plastic, for an example, how much of plastic bags that we throw to the drain system in Sri Lanka? It is counted over 1 million. Over 1 million. How much of plastic daily we are throwing? So it's a throwaway culture, like Pope Francis very correctly pointed out in his encyclical Laudato Si. So we have that throwaway culture. That's a pollution, and this is directly harming this living organism. Especially, we cannot maintain the rhythm of aquaecology if we have such a huge, massive type of pollution. I think, therefore, the immediate beneficiaries, the fisher communities, and at the same time, all the people who are responsible for this, we have a role to play. So this is, I think, as I wanted to explain, irrespective of our age, position, and all other categories, we need to be reunited and reconnected to preserve these living organisms. So that's my way of thinking, or rather my contribution, why this is important for the people. So people mean not just somebody else, all the people who belong to different communities.
Yeah, much appreciated comments you have given with us. So Madara, what about your perspective?
70% of Earth covers with water, and also 50 to 80% of oxygen produced by oceans. Then we can identify what we think about aquaecology. And also the other part, once we are thinking about nutrition is food, health system, of course we have to think about aquaecology, because aquaecology try to produce health, nutritious foods. So, of course, human beings, as a human being, we have to think about aquaecology. Once we going to the nature, we can heal our mind, and also we can make, and also we can have a good health benefits from the nature. And once we go to the sea beach or sea, of course we heal our mind and our health. So we have to think. We are surrounded with water, ecology, and we are connected with aquaecology, aquatic systems. So we should think about aquaecology and environment, not only the aquatic resources but also environment within the land.
Thank you so much, Madara, for your inputs. You have also mentioned that environmental justice too. So when it comes to my next question, why aquaecology in terms of food sovereignty and agroecology is vital for Sri Lanka as an island nation? I would like to raise this question from Rehan. What is your perspective on this?
Yes, I think it is to be reflected in terms of Sri Lanka as an island, and at the same time, if we read some of the basic conduct of Sri Lanka as an island, now this has a huge type of constructive way of life that we have to concentrate. But my immediate concern is that the question is that whether we have a profound national policy to raise this issue or to preserve the living organism of this structure. Now, though we have different research centers and then government policies, maybe the policies of non-governmental organizations and other private sector, I don't think we have still taken up this issue. But then thanks to National Fisheries Solidarity Movement, my organization, that now we have taken a responsible, a radical interest to introduce a new policy on this particular work or aquaecology concept as such. Now, if we take one basic example where I am also coming from, an area belong to Puttalam district, Toduwa is my hometown, where we have a huge estuary because our lives are connected around this living organism. Now, due to Dippa cyclone that took place from 28th to 31st of November 2025, there was a destruction of the bridge. It's partly completely damaged and then taken to washed away to the sea. Now we have a temporal boat system, which is the transportation right now people using. So there's a boat system, and then there is an oil layer completely damaging this living organism, where it was productively giving so much of life not only to the surrounded species but also to the people. And same thing happened when I was reflecting the same concept in terms of aquaecology. When one of the previous governments was building a new bridge parallel to the Kaladi Bridge, the original Dutch bridge, the singing fish they are completely destroyed and completely washed away because of that project and the operation. Now these are some of the major issues that we understand considering the living organism in the aquaecology, that there is no, in Sri Lanka, there is no a proper, profound national policy to preserve this living organism, which is one of the major crises I see. So that's why in Sri Lanka now we will have to sit and then take some immediate measurements in order to preserve this living organism, not only for the sake of that lake or the oceans or the estuary or the river basin, but also for the sake of the future of the people and all other species. I think Sri Lanka will have to, Sri Lanka in the sense, we the citizens, we the civilians will have to have a profound national policy in order to bring this issue. It's not only that the NAPSO is taking this radical option of promoting this particular concept as aquaecology, but all other communities are very well invited. But then I'm happy that under the supervision of Mr. Herman that we have taken this timely responsibility. So my immediate concern, if I summarize it, building a national policy is the best way to see through the issue, to bring the due measurements for the crisis, especially for the pollution.
Thank you so much, Rehan. You also have highlighted the national policy, which will help to Sri Lanka. But my idea is like not only Sri Lanka, we have to take over to the sea, international level. So I think this policy also will help us whole world. And Madara, I would like to raise this question with you too.
For Sri Lanka, aquaecology is vital because our island identity, food systems and livelihoods are inseparable. For Sri Lanka, aquaecology is vital because our island identity, food systems and livelihoods are inseparable from water. Coastal seas, lagoons, bays and inland tanks feed millions of human beings, thousands of small-scale fisheries. So, Sri Lanka is highly vulnerable to climate change. Sea level rise, coastal erosion, irregular rainfall, and extreme weather events. Aquaecology strengthens natural buffers such as mangroves and wetlands which protect coastline, reduce disaster risk, and support biodiversity. Many fishing regions are socio-economically marginalized or post-conflict areas where fisheries are central to survival and recovery. Aquaecology support not only ecological sustainability but also social justice, peace building and resilience. For Sri Lanka, this is not an optional environmental concept. It is national necessity. For food sovereignty, food security, climate adaptation and inclusive development.
Thank you so much for your insights, Madara. And I would like to ask the opinions of Mr. Herman.
Being an island, Sri Lanka needs a lot of attention about its ecosystems. Basically, we are a nation with hundreds of rivers, estuaries, mangroves, coastal, other ecosystems and so on. So we can utilize them for food production. But when we see the current type of food production, it is not necessarily ensure the food for the poor people, the vulnerable groups, the women-headed households, the most marginalized groups in the society. So here the current food system is not necessarily for the poor and poor friendly. So in that I say we need to have a more attention the food production about how feed the poor in the country. And in that, one way there should be a respect to the traditional wisdom, basic knowledge that people brought from generation to generation. Our people lived with nature in harmony, and they built up or they produce food for consumption, and everybody feels that we are fed properly. At the same time, the food producers, either farmers or fishers, are respected their rights. Unfortunately, current situation, the food producers, in our context it is fishers, their rights are not respected. Their rights are not really ensured. And because of that situation, the younger generation is not tend to engage into fishing industry anymore. They just want to phase out from the fishing. So there is no any continuation unless you respect the rights of the fish producers, and you respect and ensure the sustainability of the resources, and unless you really provide food for the people who are needy. So in country like Sri Lanka, it is easily we can do that, because we know most of the people are living in inland areas, that land areas, and we have more than 35,000 inland reservoirs, the tanks. So those are also possible ways that we can ensure food for the protein food for the local people, because we see the protein food is not necessarily providing them properly. So a country like Sri Lanka, if we ensure the agroecology practices towards food sovereignty, that will ensure the people's future, people's rights, the younger generation's right. So this way we promote, and we need to consider aquaecology in the fishing communities for to sustenance of the humanity in that sense. So I should say we are a group of people, National Fisheries Solidarity is working towards that goal, and this is a new concept also. So this is something that we also need to build up, this concept, and in that many people can enrich through their knowledge, their experiences, their practices. So we are trying to give this knowledge to local communities, and we want to spread this idea of aquaecology, how using more appropriate technology, because that's one of the biggest problems that we are facing right now, because destructive fishing gears are using, Indian trawlers are coming to our waters. So how do we ensure that fishing technology that use and ensure the appropriate technologies to use for fish production? So that way we have several ideas, so we need to put them together into one basket and one package and promote it as aquaecology. So that's the attempt that we are doing. So there may be a lot of mistakes, there may be a lot of weak areas that we need to improve. Yes, we know that we need to do that. Important way that how we engage to build this idea into the future and into the next generations, into the scholars, into the researchers, into the schools, and many ways. So that way we can improve this ideology among the communities.
Thank you so much, Mr. Herman. Yeah, I wish we NACSO as a team, we can build a national policy, as well as we will work on the right-based approach too. So my next question is, how does aquaecology protect the livelihood of small-scale fisheries? Can you please share with us your opinion, Mr. Herman Kuwara?
Okay, when we see the current food production system in fishing communities, it is not necessarily small-scale fisher friendly. The fishing communities who are depending on their resources, mainly the nature, the ecosystems, the fisher communities are, the small-scale fisher communities are neglected in the fishing policies, neglecting in the current development processes. They consider as a non-viable industry at all. So, fishing communities can contribute to the fish production very effectively. They are the majority of the fishing community in the country. They can do a lot of fish production, not only the coast but also inland fishing areas, lagoons and everywhere. So that how small-scale fishers could contribute for country's economic development, economic growth, and also the employment generations, fish production, nutrition, and everything is very, very vital. So when we see the aquaecology practices, we ensure that they use the sustainable, appropriate fishing practices, fishing gears. So that is one of the major concerns. And also, it ensures maybe less harm to the ecosystems, less harm to the mangrove ecosystems, coral reefs, and also the less pollution in the area. So pollution is one of the challenges. And also, we ensure the aquatic ecosystems sustainability. So that is one of the major things. So use of appropriate technology, ensure the fisher people's rights, their basic human rights, also ensure the people's livelihood rights, and also ensure the people's working rights, also ensure the gender equality, and also ensure how younger generation engage in fishing practices. So we ensure the gender equality and equity, and we ensure how to younger generation could engage in these practices, how to ensure the people get the benefit from the fishing as a whole. So in that context, aquaecology will ensure the ecosystem sustainability, people's rights, gender rights, also future generations' rights. As a whole, we see how to continue this system through appropriate technology, ensuring rights, ensuring gender, and so we ensure the rights of the people as a whole.
So much for your valuable inputs. Then Madara, what about your perspective on this?
Yes, Afnas. Aquaecology protects small-scale fishes by ensuring the long-term health of the ecosystem they depend on. If it focuses on restoring degraded habitats, protecting breeding areas and promoting sustainable harvesting rather than over extraction. Importantly, it recognizes and strengthens traditional ecological knowledge and community-based governance systems. When fishers are involved in managing resources, fish ada අතන මලගෙදර නිසා වෙන්නේ When fishers are involved in managing resources, fish stocks are more stable, incomes are more secure. and communities are better prepared for environment and economic shocks. Unlike profit-driven industrial models, aquaecology balances ecological health with social well-being. This creates dignifies livelihoods, reduces vulnerability and supports intergeneral sustainable for fishing communities. So we know what blue economists thought about and think about small-scale fishes. They ignore small-scale fishes, but aquaecology, we have to think small-scale fishing community, small-scale fishers and small-scale farmers. Then we can make a sustainable economy and sustainable world.
Thank you so much, Madara, for your concerns. And Rehan, can you please share with your opinion about this?
Yes, in my view, Shafnas now, the best green lovers in this country, which I am trying to say, the best green lovers are the farmers and the fisher communities, the fishermen and fisherwomen. Now, even among the fisher communities, very especially, according to your question, because you were emphasizing about the small-scale fisher communities and their responsibility over this. Even among the small-scale fisher communities, especially in terms of your question, I would say the women have a role to play, very especially to preserve the living organism, the living mechanism of this term aqua ecology. Now let me give you an example. In Sri Lanka, the small scale fisher communities, usually they fall into a very low village level effort. Now they are also not very much technically fit enough to fish, rather they still maintain the traditional methods and the traditional knowledge. Once I remember Mr. Herman mentioned about it very clearly, that up to some extent they are still maintaining that, that's what I said, they are the best green lovers, plus the farmers. So the women who have more responsibilities as housewives, and especially those who provide their immediate responsibilities to food production, I think they can be very well educated and trained, especially as I mentioned through a good national policy, to be a part of this concept, because their contribution from morning to evening is very much important. I've seen and I have experienced this one, especially from my hometown onward. So I'm also very much connected to this type of organism. And on the other hand, let me also explain one research point, because I'm doing my studies on ecological theology under the supervision of Dr. Matthew Fox. He's a champion of promoting this concept called creation spirituality. Now there is a holistic organism in this particular way of life, especially in terms of aquaecology. Now when the, not only the women, as I said, but then all the fisher communities, whether they are in the coastal or the inland fisher communities, they can, not, I would say they must, but they can maintain the holistic way of this whole creation as such. It's a way of life, it's a spirituality. It is not only just a profit-oriented mechanism in order to just get the maximum out of the whole thing, like for their improvement or the development of their living cost, or in terms of the profit. Well, they are very important. Economically it is important, politically that's important, and at the same time socially, which is important. But I would also say people, including myself, we have to concentrate on the holistic mechanism of this particular organism, where the small scale fisher communities can concentrate and be united to protect the spirituality of this world. So I would propose, and I would still promote, especially my organization has taken up such a extraordinary responsibility that we will have to work on it to uplift the people's livelihood in terms of not only toward the profit orientation, but in order to protect the holistic mechanism of that concept as such. So I would like to be a part of that work, as Dr. Matthew Fox clearly mentions in his research in terms of creation and spirituality.
Thank you, Rehan. Mr. Herman, I would like to raise the question about, as a national convener of NAFSO and the General Secretary of WFFP, what role should civil society and NGOs play in promoting aquaecology?
Thank you, Safna. That's very important. The whole concept, whole idea of this program also to bring this to the society. So in that, there is a very big role to play the civil society actors like NAFSO, because this is, as I told earlier, it's a kind of new concept or new kind of practical action that we are promoting as NAFSO. Even at the WFFP level, we need to bring it to the global scenario, because still this is not necessarily focused attention by us. We all are focusing on agroecology. Of course, it is very important, and it is necessary to reach the idea to various communities, various people, fisher communities, civil society organizations, NGOs, trade unions, policymakers. So it is important to bring this ideology to the various communities, fisher communities, and other civil society actors, trade unions, policymakers, politicians, government officials, and various people. Also researchers, media, and of course it should go or trickle down to the schools. However, it is important that the people concerned should be come together to develop or evolve this concept and promote this practice, because maybe through various ways we can do that, but there should be concrete base for that. So to develop that is very important. So one thing, it is theory, but also practice. So we as NAFSO is promoting this theory, and we bring this concept gradually to evolve. At the same time, we are planning to bring this to the communities to build or to seed this ideology, to build up and make a kind of develop a kind of a plant or tree, bigger picture through the practical actions, at least at the beginning in 3 major communities in Galle, Nigambu and Polonnaruwa. We think that we can develop this or we can evolve this idea while we are developing the theory, and we are applying this theory into the practical actions in the communities. So that helps us to develop this idea and to bring the ecological practices into the main arena, mainstream, and we want to mainstream to that way. So it's very important that various type of groups, various type of people, younger generation, youth, women and others start talking about this one. So we expect not only the Sri Lankan community, but also beyond that, like WFFP, the World Forum of Fisher Peoples global movement, should be focused this attention. So we urge from the leaders of WFFP to come forward and think of that, develop this idea and bring to the other communities in the member organizations in the world, and let's develop to the aquaecology concept into other countries, other members through the WFFE Food Sovereignty Working Group. So in that way, we promote this idea.
Thank you so much for your valuable inputs. As NAFSO, we are going to create a national policy on aqua ecology for the whole nation. As well as we are hoping to hoping to promote this policy among women, small-scale fisheries, as well as youth groups and vulnerable, marginalized communities to practice aqua ecology. So, when it comes to Mr. Herman's discussion, we can improve the policies in future. So we hope to develop the national policy and implement the policy in global level. Thank you so much for your point of view. And Madara, I would like to know about your opinion.
Yeah, as a civil society actor and also NGOs, our role is both supportive and strategic. We can generate evidence through research, document community knowledge, and highlight the impacts of destructive fishing and aquatic practices. We also play a key role in advocacy, bringing the voices of small-scale fishers into policy spaces, challenging unjust law, and promoting right-based approaches to fisheries governance. Capacity building is equally important. Supporting communities through training, awareness programs, and leadership development, especially for women and youth. We know WFFB specially focusing about indigenous people. Once we think about aqua ecology, of course we can't ignore indigenous people. We should think indigenous people because they are providing their shelters, foods and everything basic aqua ecology, aquatic resources. So we have to think about them. And also additionally, NGOs can facilitate knowledge exchange between communities, monitor environment changes, and connect grassroots realities with national and international decision-making platforms. In this way, civil society helps ensure that aqua ecology is not just a concept, but a lived, practical, rooted in people, right, and realities.
And Rehan, as a civil society actor, what about your opinion on this?
Yeah, I see two immediate steps because I'm also attached to my organization as a project coordinator. Usually, for every type of a project, we usually do type of an awareness program. Awareness, making awareness in the sense to be aware of this particular concept. So I would say, while we are working for the research theories, which is the praxis for the research purpose, and then the practice, which is the praxis for the transformation, plus active orientation. I think we need to conduct a series of awareness programs among the people. Now, NAPSO as a non-profit organization, we are active in 17 districts. That particular methodology or the way of life itself is enough to educate the people, especially our fisher communities, farmers, and all other major communities who are directly involved actively in this regard. And then that's a short-term plan. So what's the long-term plan? whatever we did, whatever we do or fulfill in our awareness programs, that has to be very well articulated in a long-term program, which is, as I very well explained in the second question, that's the national policy. So while we are involved or engaged in a theory, which is for a praxis of transformation in this regard, we also can prepare, especially as Madara and Mr. Herman clearly said, that we can urge not only to the government sector, but also for the other private sectors, that we can still make a national policy. So if I summarize, my short-term proposal would be the awareness programs about this concept, especially that has to be well maintained and balanced among the people, and that practice with a series of evaluations with their comments, especially ordinary people will have their own comments on this one, so that taking all these things into an accountability, we prepare the national policy. So that's the long-term plan. So I would propose, whether we are an NGO or a government sector or any other community that belong to different social activist level, that we need to go for this short-term and the long-term program.
When it comes to a summary of this discussion, it is quite clear how aquaecology in Sri Lanka and across the world is important, especially as we work hard for food sovereignty and agroecology. I think we all have a responsibility and a timely role to play. However, this discussion should not be the end of this timely effort. We will need to find ways to continue and educate our communities to preserve the holistic nature of aquaecology. So I would like to thank you to Mr. Herman Kumara, Ms. Madara and Mr. Rehan for sharing your valuable insights, and thank you everyone who joined us today. Have a blessed day.